Listen.
I am not getting pulled into any sort of perverted sex talk.
It's not perverted.
Banging your sister is perverted, Dennis.
I am not banging my sister.
It's all connected. Welcome to a retrospective of Always Sunny Season 2, where I'm going to make an argument for it being one long story. This will centre around the A plot of Frank joins a gang, along with B plots on Barbara, the fall of the waitress, Old Beef's Cricket v Dennis, the McPoyles v Charlie, and the Law v the gang, with the core theme of family. Rob McElhenney is credited as the director on episode 1. Glenn Hardin explicitly saying on the Always Sunny podcast,
Dan Attias directed all 10 episodes of this season. Wonderful director, mostly known for drama, almost exclusively known for drama, which we preferred because we didn't like it when directors tried to make things funny. We found it made it less funny. So we just wanted somebody who could shoot a story really, really well, and Dan Attias was extremely talented, and we needed somebody who could pull off essentially shooting all 10 scripts as if it was one big script because we only had Danny DeVito for 20 days.
Yep.
And then it ended up being, what, 25 days?
No, I think he gave us way more than
30.
that. I think.
if you've seen one or two shows out of Prestige TV in the last 30 years, you know Dan Attias' work. Attias brought his own vision to season 2, pushing it forward sometimes against the producer's own, notably in the case of Anne Archer's entry, when he lost that round. But let's start with 201, the gang gets crippled. We can speculate the gang's increased bizarreness as a result of concussion sustained in the traffic accident at the end of the episode. For sure, the debut of Danny DeVito kickstarts a series that's deeply interconnected. This leads us directly into 202, the removing of Charlie's cast in Deandra's neck brace, which is worn throughout. We also have the introduction of Anne Archer, a recurring linchpin in this series. Barbara is a daughter of SS officer Heinrich Landgraf, same spelling as oft spoken of John Landgraf of FX, a mean woman. We see the first flowers in the Charlie-Frank relationship. The fallout to the occupation problem sees Frank take ownership of the bar. On one side of the division are Charlie and Mac, firmly in with Frank as captain of the gang. On the other side, Dennis and Dee, taking the change of management personally. In 203, the gang goes on welfare, they cut their ties.
It's set up to continue on. It's not for overprivileged pieces of shit who want to waste millions of dollars.
Hello there, crack cocaine. Meanwhile, what Barbara can't find, Barbara can't get. Frank is bonded with Charlie, and he's placed in charge of the bar when he's not around. This imbalance in personal politics pisses people plenty to punch up performing power plays. Translated, Charlie is in power, and Dennis wants that power. Anne Archer returns with some metatext connectivity. 204, Mac bangs Dennis's mom. Dennis threatens to bang the waitress, which the internet says he did back in Charlie Gets Cancer. Dennis tries to bang everyone and their mom. Mac's mom is introduced here, blunt and cold, the very opposite of Charlie's mom. So what's being done is telling plot as it should be through character. And Frank gets some seismic betrayal. The waitress is discussed for Dennis in this episode, and her lust for him in 206 is a continuity controversy. Good short article in the description on that. For the purposes of this deconstruction, I'll be dealing with the narrative chronologically as it's presented. 205. The Charlie-Frank split is dealt with by separating them for an episode as Frank seeks to reconnect with Dee and we learn more about his past. Despite what Frank did to Charlie, the gang don't have much sympathy for him. You might say Mac and Dennis's idea of healing Charlie is smashing things all over his body. 206. The gang gives back, introduces the Vietnamese. The gang's conviction for the arson attack in episode 2 leads to a sentencing of community service. We also see signs of Frank exercising his control over the bar. What happens there, and how Dennis is powerless to stop it, despite his appeal for a takeover to co-shareholders Mac and Charlie. They are still on Team Frank. It also addresses the theme of parental responsibility or guardianship. Frank still wants to do father-son stuff with his kids, so imposes himself on the game, manageably running a crooked book on it. The waitress is all over Dennis again. Alcohol? The audience and Frank learn the waitress and Dennis off-screen banged in 104. In reverse of 204, she's not disgusted by him but under his thrall. Her deference to him is enough for Charlie's rage to pivot from Frank to bastard man. 207, the gang exploits a miracle, is arc light.
Cats!
An old beef is settled. Also the first, only writing credit this season shared by anyone outside of McElhenney, Day and Hardin. They're on all episodes except 208, credited solely to David Hornsby. Frank's generational perspective on politics His experience is a key driver for the plot. He's shown exercising his dominance. His actions give the gang some white-collar legitimacy. Again, Frank tries to bond with Dee in a strange way. And just like Mac bangs Dennis's mom, every member of the gang turns on one another. Status quo. Charlie goes America all over everybody's ass.
Nobody messes with the McFoyles!
Reintroduces and resolves a conflict between McPoyles and Charlie. They return as an expanded group, give us an interesting interpretation of family. As a major shareholder in Paddy's, it's unusual that Frank asks for extra rights for his gambling den rather than taking them. He is subordinate to, or consulting, Dennis and Mac. No, he's pitching for them to get behind him. And the finale, Dennis and Dee get a new dad, has a third appearance of Barbara, and Archer's final, though Barbara will be referenced in 10 or more episodes to come. Notable subplot in the on-theme introduction of Mac's father. The focus is the A-plot. Frank is truly one of the gang now, but last act twist, he ain't Dennis and Dee's dad. They want him to be, but status quo, he don't care.
I'm not into being your dad anymore. Don't want to be your dad.
But what of his affinity with Charlie? The finale addresses the 4 key vectors in Frank and his impact: division, cohabitation, reorganisation and liberation. Please like, subscribe and keep the comments coming. What other series would like to see me cover? If you're enjoying the 200-second Always Sunny series, you can find a dozen new episodes along with tales of bad paranormal hunters, giant fish and wee gerbils on patreon.com/Andy Luke. Thank you to all my sponsors there. They make this happen.